The Week 12 Fantasy Football and Thursday Night Football Player Prop edition of the Stephie Smalls Show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with code SMALLS. Get every episode of every show in one convenient feed. Search SGPN on your favorite podcast app to subscribe today. Let's yap.
Stephie touch balls, betting it all on the power bottom false top drop the football. Like hopes they've been teasing, they're missing the fall season. ACL twisted, bank account freezing, but Smalls cut the shots like some more reason. Leaderboard rising while the slot machine's ringing. She's slinging plays, that's like Nostradamus. $100 bills raining down upon us.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome back to the Stephie Smalls Show. I am your host, Stephie Smalls. We have a lot of fantasy stuff to discuss. We have a Thursday night football game that we need some props on. So without further ado, we love Frank Ammirante. He's joining us. He does content for, Rotoballer, Fantasy Pros, and a plethora of sites. How are you doing?
Oh, great. Always a pleasure to be on the show. We're in the stretch run fantasy football season. A lot of your teams like in must-win spots. Excited to talk about it.
Last week was a hard week for me too. I think not having Jonathan Taylor and Warren on some of my teams, and I made some silly decisions. I see David in the chat. I didn't play George Pickens in one of my leagues, and that absolutely hurt me, but that's all right. Can I get a temperature check on your Commanders?
What a disaster of a season.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
Yeah. What do you think
of the Dolphins was gross. We've been blown out, now 4 of the last 5 games. Commanders, the only thing, I guess, get a high pick and then come back with Daniels next year. I do think Daniels will return. They won't just shut him down.
Okay.
Like these players want to play. Like if they're ready to go, they'll play them a couple games. I feel like that's my opinion. But disaster of a season. What about you with the Giants? At least start looks great.
I keep saying this. I've gotten watchable games, and that's not something that I've been able to say as a Giants fan for a little bit. So, they're scoring points. They're the only team that scored 30+ points against teams like the Broncos and the Eagles. So there's a lot to like. Dart is there. I think they have good pieces. So give us another high pick. Go from there and just keep it watchable and I'm all right.
Yeah, it's perfect. They're keeping it close, but they're losing. You get the high pick with Dart next year and you coach. I think looking good.
Good spot to be in. Yeah, it's not too bad of a spot to be in.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Yeah. Thoughts on Tyrod getting the start here? Any impacts? Their wide receiver room, their depth chart in general. I did not realize how atrocious it truly was until I took a look. Here I am talking. I've started a war with Jets fans. I don't know why. I don't even dislike. I'm not even a Jets hater. But Wilson's out. The wide receiver room is a little weird. Is there any excitement here? Maybe Mason Taylor gets a little bit of hopefully we get a little bit more out of him. But that's about it.
Yeah, well, at least because you're watching Justin Field lead that offense. They can't pass at all. That was so hard to watch with on Thursday.
It was painful.
I guess if you have Garrett Wilson when he comes back from IR, maybe in a few weeks, at least you have a glimmer of hope with Taylor as a marginal upgrade because what Field was bringing to the table, through the passing game was just really ugly.
It was gross. The only other change that we had here is Penix, 5th season-ending injury in between college and the pros. I don't know what that looks like. It's a weird spot to be in. If you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, you don't have your first-round pick. Kirk Cousins is now coming in. You paid him a shitload of money, $100 million, whatever it was. Thoughts on Kirk being the starter here?
Well, I came into this season thinking Kirk Cousins, if he ever got a chance to get back on the field, he'd look a little better because of 1 year further removed from the injury. I thought he looked bad. Even with Drake London missing a game, if he comes back, I still think you have to bump down Drake London in fantasy just because Penix allowed London to have those blow up games much more often than Cousins. Maybe you see Darnell Mooney get a little more involved than you have been in the past few weeks. But obviously a downgrade for the offense. I was wrong on Cousins looking better. He just doesn't look good. Hopefully we see the Cousins of old, but it hasn't been that way so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like also when I was, handicapping most receiving yard, to lead the league in receiving yards, I thought that London, it was a solid bet too, because you still had kind of the safety net of Kirk, and that's not exactly what ended up happening. Although I think the thought process was somewhat right, because as much as everyone hates Kirk, he was a very serviceable, above serviceable quarterback for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. I like that take because at least you thought of it like at least the backup was a capable starter in the past. You know, he has experience, but it just feels like Penix locks onto London a lot more than does. Cousins maybe spreads it a little more.
Probably.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk some pickups for this week. Who's the first one you're looking? Again, we're at the end of the season. I know a lot of people are in these deeper leagues, so like everything's with a grain of salt. And again, like waivers, at least in a lot of my leagues, are disgusting right now. There's not a lot to love. So what are you looking at this week?
So I have a few here, some that might appeal to like the shallower leagues, some to the deeper leagues. Obviously, Michael Wilson had that blow-up game for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Rostered in your league, but I think I saw on Yahoo it's like 44%-ish. So he's still out there, Wilson. And Marvin Harrison Jr., you know, he's probably going to miss another week. That's my hunch.
Sure.
And, you know, they're airing it out with Brissett, and we can't ignore what Wilson just did. What if he's better than we initially thought? And he's showing it now with an increased role. So that's a pickup.
Yeah.
Sean Tucker's still out there. He had a blow-up game. I was happy to start him in one spot. But that one, you got to, you know, take a grain. Like, you got to be temper expectations because maybe Bucky Irving comes back. We don't know. Emmanuel Wilson's a good pickup. Josh Jacobs likely out. Wilson dominated the workload for the Packers. And, you know, they're home to the Vikings, who J.J. McCarthy, I was way wrong. He does not look good.
Oh, my gosh. That's just gross. I don't even know what that looks like the rest of the season for any of those guys over there. It's a little bit brutal. You are a Commanders fan. Chris Rodriguez looks like he's still 12% availability on Yahoo. We saw them absolutely feeding him. I think, like, especially those first two drives. And I actually enjoy watching. Like, I think he's a fun player to watch. I've picked him up a couple places. Where are you at with him as far as the rest of the season goes?
Yeah, that's a good call because with guys like Emmanuel Wilson probably getting a start, maybe Kenny Gainwell does if Warren is out, maybe Tucker gets to play again. You may be able to have Chris Rodriguez slip the cracks. Like everyone's going to buy this week. So that's a great call out. Chris Rodriguez seems like Bill is falling out of favor. Ja'Cory Cross a little bit, and it's Rodriguez is the 1A. You look at the schedule, Broncos, tough matchup at the Vikings. Their run D's pretty good. But then they play the Giants. Maybe Rodriguez can have it there. And, hey, you could find the end zone in each of those games. So any running back who's seeing somewhat of volume is worth picking up. So that's a great call.
Yeah, and you bring up some, like, running backs that are getting volume. And out of necessity, I had to start Singletary this past week, and I was happy that I did that. I mean, the last 4 weeks of the year, they have Washington, Minnesota, Vegas, and Dallas. You're getting like maybe a little, he looks decent, 14 attempts, 44 yards. I'm talking like deeper leagues. I mean, he had 49%. It's still definitely a split backfield there with Tracy, who I will say, Tracy did look, he must have been really nursing that injury because that was the first time I think he looked healthy in like a while. So I doubt Tracy is available in a lot of leagues, but we saw Singletary have 2 touchdowns. So they were giving him the work down there. So I know it's a giant. I know it's gross, but they also don't have a lot of wide receivers. So you are going to catch them running the ball regardless.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good call too. You want to round out your bench with maybe, hey, with all these injuries, you may be forced to have a guy like Singletary.
Yeah.
What, 2 touchdowns? It's a good
and he kept me afloat like for this week. So again, like if you have a spot and there's someone, is there anyone that you're looking to drop? Like you feel safe enough dropping at this point? Like where are we at with like Keon Coleman? I think I brought him up last week, but it's like
Keon Coleman,
he's
got to be dropped.
Yeah.
That he's just fallen out of favor. He wasn't good when playing Coleman. He's got to be dropped. There's guys who have big names that are just not getting it done. I don't want to drop them, but like you got to just park them on your bench, like Xavier. Like it's been a rough ride there. But in terms of other deep pickups you can have, Luther Burden on the Bears,
Sure.
finally outsnapped Olamide Zacchaeus.
Yeah,
Burden has a lot of talent. DJ Moore really isn't doing much, so like
sure.
there's a path for Burden to emerge as the number 2 target. Jayden Higgins on the Texans,
Yep.
7 targets in his last 2 games. It's a case of a rookie finally getting on the field more, worth a look. And then if you're in a really deep league and you're in a tough spot, maybe you have Justin Herbert on a bye and there's really slim pickings with quarterbacks. Bryce Young plays a 49ers defense that's been picked apart the last 2 weeks by Jacoby Brissett and Matthew Stafford. We saw Bryce Young last week against the Falcons. What do you have? 400? Like he went off.
Yeah, I know.
So worth a look
crazy.
if you're in a tough spot at quarterback due to buys.
Yeah, absolutely. Alec Pierce, like it depends again. Like I think he's like 49% available in Yahoo leagues. His floor has been pretty solid. I know, they have Josh Downs kind of in the slot there. Warren gets a lot of the underneath work, but the upside is there because he is like only behind JSN. He has 6 catches of 35 plus yards this year. You mentioned Higgins. That's another one. I saw someone mention Noel.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
But again, these type like guys like Higgins, Noel, it's kind of like getting ahead of the 8 ball. You're prematurely stashing them in case they do have this little bit of a spike. If you're in a deep league and you're totally screwed, Isaiah Hodgins, again, I know I'm going back to the Giants, but it's what I know. It's what I watch every week. So, I mean, he had a 79% snap count. He practiced 1 to 2 days with them. And he came right back in for 6 targets, 5 receptions, and 57 yards. So, it's the best option that they have at wide receiver. And depending on how you feel with Wandell, I don't expect Hyatt to get the work that he got last week after that game. So I think Hodgins, if you're in like one of these massive leagues with like 12, 14 teams and you're totally absolutely beaten down and waivers looks disgusting, you're not going to get much out of him this week. He's got the Lions and then they have Pats. But then again, like I said, the end of the Giants schedule is a little bit kinder than it's been to them the rest of the season. Any other drops or ads that you want to mention before we move towards these listener questions?
Any other ads? This one, I mean.
What about tight end? Do you have any tight ends? Juwan Johnson?
I was just looking at the Saints. Yeah, Juwan Johnson. Yeah, because like the Falcons, like prior to that game, Bryce Young was doing really nothing. And then he just explodes for 448 and 3 touchdowns.
No.
And the Falcons are pretty banged up in the secondary. Right. Maybe pick up Juwan Johnson and coming off the bye, Tyler Shuck can have a okay game finding his tight end. And Chris Olave has been great, but obviously, he's rostered. But yeah, Juwan Johnson.
Yeah. Defense-wise, Tampa Bay after week 13, they have Arizona, Saints, Atlanta, Carolina, Miami. So there maybe, I would just take a look at them if that's available. But otherwise, I will.
Even the Raiders facing Shadur Sanders, they probably are widely available.
Yeah.
Dak went off, but he did get sacked. Well, he got sacked once, but he forced a fumble. Maybe Max Crosby causes fits for Shadur Sanders. You get some sacks there. That could be worth a look.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game. We'll answer some listener questions next. We are brought to you also by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. You're getting the best prices with Novig, and it's available in 35 plus states. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5. If you use our promo code SGPN, get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. I'm going to jump ahead to a Thursday night football pick'em entry that I like. Underdog is home for all your pick'em entries, and you can win up to 5,000x your monies. David, first of all, we cashed no one's paying attention to my underdog slips, but we cashed last night's. Let's try to do it again. Davis Mills, higher 6.5, longest rush. Keon Coleman, lower 10.5, first half receiving yards. And Nico Collins, higher 5.5 receptions. That gets you 5.7x your money. Underdogs got a brand new offer for new customers. Pay just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with code SMALLS. Let's answer some of these questions here. I saw Trevor in the chat drop this one. Is it Iosivas? I say it wrong every time. Whatever.
Yeah, Iosivas. I believe that's how. Yeah.
Yeah, him or Mac Hollins as an ad in PPR. Do you have a preference there? I probably lean Hollins, but this is what I mean. This is gross shit.
No, I mean Hollins is Hollins plays the. Yeah, I think you got to just go Hollins because we've seen him produce, and the Bengals defense is just disastrous.
And then you get the Giants, which is
at least the Patriots defense is good. Yeah, I got to go there. Even though Chase is suspended, I'll go with Hollins.
This is from Andrew the Reese's guy. Hurts versus Dallas, Stafford versus Tampa Bay, or Goff versus the Giants.
Okay, these are all great options. It's just really hard to ever bench Jalen Hurts with the tush push and with how he's produced over the past couple seasons. Absolutely. And the fact that it's against the Cowboys, it's an indoor game. I know Dallas's defense has improved, and Hurts is coming off a dud. And then Stafford and Goff each have good matchups, but I got to go with Hurts there.
Absolutely. Garrett asks, who is the number one late season breakout that will win people championships this year? It's going to be TreVeyon Henderson for me. And I'm so glad that we're hopefully getting a piece of that finally, because he's just been sitting there. But is there anyone that
I'm gonna pick someone who's widely available just to switch it up?
Sure.
Let's go with Luther Burden.
Love it.
I said, he outsnapped Olamide Zacchaeus finally last week. He's really talented. He's shown efficiency. We saw him on that trick play get loose downfield against the Cowboys early in the year. DJ Moore hasn't done much, really falling out of favor. So it's not like Burden's I'm saying he's just gonna explode, but hey, look at the seasons throughout the years. Look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, came out of nowhere as a rookie and had that nice run. It's not crazy to think. Look what Michael Wilson just did. So you're talking about a talented rookie with an ascending role, with a great play caller, Ben Johnson. I think widely available in leagues. You should stash him on your bench, see what happens. There's my bold call for
love it.
Potential.
Absolutely love it. Trevor also asks, Joe Flacco, Darnold, or Brissett. I mean, Brissett, is it Kyler not coming back? Isn't that the plan here?
Yeah, they're going with Brissett. I think you got to go Brissett there. Wait, it was Darnold, Brissett, and who's the other one?
Flacco.
Yeah, because look what Brissett's done the last couple of weeks, averaging over 20 points per game. You look at the game against the Jaguars, 47.5-point total. Jags are 2.5-point favorites. Could be close to come down to the wire. It's not like the Jaguars' pass defense is anything great. I know they did good against Herbert, but the Chargers' O-line is just destroyed. So
yeah,
I think I'd go Brissett there.
Sweet. I see David asking Christian Watson or Mooney. Watson has the Vikings.
This one's tough because on the one hand,
I do like the opportunity for Mooney with Kirk, with London out. Christian Watson's been obviously going off. He faces the Vikings secondary, who has been fine.
This one's tough because, like you said, London is out, but Watson's coming off a big game. And I did see when Josh Jacobs left the game against the Giants, the Packers were much more pass heavy, and we could see that, again in a full game without Jacobs. So, damn, this one's really close.
It is close.
What did Watson finish with last week? 4 for 46, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, let's just go with Watson coming off the big game. We're going to go Watson.
I like it. And then last one here we'll take is Ice Cold Jones. Someone dropped Bo Nix and Spears. Should I pick them up? I like Spears. I've liked Spears for a little bit as a stash here.
Definitely pick up Spears because he's a stash, like you said, and any running back who has somewhat of a role is useful. Bo Nix, I'm going to just pull up his schedule. It really depends if you need a quarterback. He's on a bye, so that's probably why he was dropped. But actually, you know what? Yes, pick up Bo Nix because he's got the Commanders right off the bye.
Oh, there we go.
There's a smash.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have the room, definitely pick up Bo Nix.
Sweet. Before we talk a couple Thursday night football props, Rhythm is crushing it in college football, NFL, and they added the NBA. Rhythm is also giving away weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build, and you could win $1,000. One of their smart signals for this week is over 40.5 for the Seahawks at the Titans game. The odds are minus 110 on that with a 71% hit rate. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. So they did rule out Mr. Stroud. We'll get Davis Mills again. Buffalo's headed to Houston. Houston's 6-point home dogs. Houston's pretty good against the spread as dogs, actually, but we won't have Stroud. Any right off the bat thoughts about this game?
Well, the first thing we got to talk about is how much the Bills' run defense is struggling. Like, look what Sean Tucker just did against them, Devon Achane the week before that. So I do like Woody Marks over rushing yards. You could get 62.5 at DraftKings. I know Woody Marks had a bad game against the Titans, only 44 yards on the ground. But Woody Marks had 18 carries in that game. Nick Chubb only had 3. So the shift towards Marks has happened. So we're going to go with Marks rushing prop there. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking for a longest rush line on Marks, and I didn't see one out before we jumped on. So that's probably out since I have jumped on the show. But I actually don't hate taking Nick Chubb's over too. The 20.5 rushing yards, minus 114. He had at least 34 rushing yards in 3 straight games before last week against Tennessee. I know he had 17, but he was averaging 54 rushing yards per game at home. 20.5, like he only has to get 21 rushing yards against this Buffalo defense that has been giving up, 121.2 if you want to get specific here, rushing yards per game to opposing running backs. They're just obviously struggling in that area. So I don't hate that either.
Yeah, I like that. That's a low bar. And even last week when Chubb had 3 carries, still had 17 yards close. So I like that one too. Another one I like, I just think back to last year when the Bills played the Texans and against this same defense.
Yeah, I forgot.
Allen really struggled in that game. He went 9 for 30. He threw for like 130 yards. The Texans' pass defense has been incredible.
Yeah.
So I do like Josh Allen under 226.5 pass yards and under 36.5 longest completion. The Texans been limiting big plays as well. I'm going to be fading Allen through the air.
Yeah, absolutely. I can also probably get behind him to throw an interception. It seems like once he starts throwing them, that we kind of see that happen. Texans have gotten at least one every game this season. This was, I guess, surprising me. Maybe it shouldn't be. The Bills are tied with the Browns for the fewest completions allowed to the opposing quarterback here. Davis Mills under 19.5. Passing completions is plus 105. Looking at the last 3 quarterbacks they played, Mahomes 15, Tua 15, Mayfield 17. They're getting a lot of attempts, but they're not getting isn't that surprising?
That's a nice find. Damn.
Isn't it surprising, right? I was shocked when I saw that. And we did see Mills. He has gone over that the last 2 games, but he's also throwing the ball at like a ridiculous rate. So that was interesting, especially at the plus 105. You don't hear me give out unders often, but I did like that quite a bit.
That's a good one, yeah, because especially with the way the Bills are struggling defending the run, you could see Houston just coming out with a really run-heavy game plan.
Sure.
I like that a lot. I like another one, but then what you just said gives me a bit of pause. It's Jayden Higgins over 2.5 catches, and that's just because Higgins has 4 catches in 3 of his last 4 games. But then again, like going with what you said, like it could be run-heavy, so I may have some pause on that one.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was shocking to me when I saw that because you could have had me guess that 1,000 times, and I obviously not 1,000, but a good handful, and I would not have gotten that.
Yeah,
interesting. James Cook's receiving yards kind of has my attention. He's also his receptions are sitting at 2.5 plus 145 to the over. I don't know that I hate that here. Looking at Houston, looks like they're allowing like 4.2 on average receptions to opposing running backs. They're not doing much with this, but they are going over that number. They're, kind of like middle of the pack there with the receiving yards that they're giving up. 14.5 is not much. You look at the last, 8 receptions last 2 weeks. Last week, 30 receptions, 66 yards. So again, he's another one of these guys that the yards after the catch are there for him. So I don't mind playing either of those numbers. Obviously, we like the plus 145, but 14.5 is a pretty low number for a guy that's gone over this 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, especially like you look at the matchup with the Bills receivers against this defense. The Bills receiving core is not good, and they're probably going to struggle against this stacked defense. I believe Khalil Shakir is banged up too. So Cook may be their best, weapon through the air. Like they might heavily feature him through the air. I like it. Yeah,
absolutely. Anything else that you're looking at before we kind of wrap up here?
I know it's not props, but I think I'm going to take the Texans +6 home dogs. Like you said, they've done.
Oh, yeah.
These Thursday night games have been ugly. I think this could be an under 43.5, another low scoring, ugly game.
Yeah.
Bills maybe squeak through with 21-17 type of game. I could see that.
Absolutely. I could totally see it. Is there any big dogs on the board that you like this week? Because we do have we have a couple bigger spreads. Last week, we didn't have as many, Seahawks. I mean, that line's now sitting at 13.5 on the road versus the Titans. Their defense looks fantastic. I see an 11 out there. I think the Lions will, they're going to handle the Giants unless for some reason really not having a dome bothers Mr. Goff. Jets are 13.5. That line is at.
Damn. Well, in terms of a dog, I do like the Panthers +7 at the 49ers because the 49ers defense is really struggling right now. Like, look, I know they covered against the Cardinals, but I think it could be a bit of a letdown spot, and then the Panthers give them a little bit of a scare. Ravens home to the Jets. Do we trust the Ravens with this huge spread?
That's a big spread.
That's huge. And with Taylor there, at least he's a bit of an upgrade. But then again, the Jets are they're really rough to like. I did it last week, taking the Jets +12 at the Patriots because I thought, they almost covered, but man, it's hard to watch when you have them.
Yeah, I think
they're disgusting.
They've been weirdly covering it. Like they kept covered quite a bit this year. So I absolutely don't hate that. Let people know where they can find you. I appreciate you coming on. I will be back Thursday. Keep an eye out. Anand will be there on the show for the player prop episode. Not sure what time, but rate, review, subscribe. And then Frank, let people know where they can find you and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, so you can find my work at Rotoballer, Fantasy Pro, several other sites. You can see all of them at Ammirante TFJ on Twitter. Hit me up any fantasy questions. A pleasure as always being on the show, and hopefully Jackson Dart comes back soon. He's been a stud.
No, I need him. All right, guys, we'll see you later.
Stephie Smalls Show, sports gambling. Play some bets on winners and catastrophe. If you want to know where to put the money, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday is the place to be.